I've always thought that it's important to appreciate the beauty in the world. The blossoms in the spring, summers by the sea, the smiles on your friends' faces. You shouldn't take those things for granted.
I was a little monster when I was a kid. I'd get into trouble then refuse to apologize, and my exasperated mom would say, I wish I'd given birth to a chunk of chasyu instead of you. Now, every time I eat chasyu, it makes me think of her.
Although I was fully adopted by the Kujou clan, I know that Takayuki does not look at me the same way he looks at Kamaji. I might be a little stone-faced sometimes, but even I get lonely. Especially when I catch sight of one of my subordinates sharing an intimate moment with their family. I'm sorry, I have nothing but gratitude for Takayuki. How could I be so disrespectful?
You know Ajilenak nuts, right? I used to go crazy for them as a kid, but my dad was the worst at shelling them. He'd just hack them to pieces with his knife, leaving a bunch of inedible mush behind. In the end, he'd salvage what he could by scraping pieces of the flesh off the shell, then mixing it with some milk and calling it porridge. I do miss the taste of that porridge sometimes. And I miss that old nutcracker too.
My father's intent was to trade my flesh and blood for my mother's life. After he abandoned me in that cave, I still held out hope that he'd come back to rescue me. 1 day went by, then 2 days, 3 days. I used every ounce of energy in my body to fight off that monster. But as I collapsed on the ground, I finally realized that the day I was waiting for would never come. To this day, I don't know which one it is. Was I abandoned because I'm cursed? Or is it the way I've been treated in life that has cursed me?
We Melazines are Monsieur Nervulet's familiars, but that doesn't mean he shows us any favor beyond what is fair and legal. I willingly accepted when he put me on trial, and I fully agreed with his verdict. I remember the day I left for the fortress of Meripede. It was raining really hard, but I didn't feel like the raindrops were cold at all. They were warm and gentle, just like the way Monsieur Nervulet looks at me.
I read in a book that when people die, they turn into stars and watch over us from the sky. I hate my real father. He abandoned my mother and me, so I don't care about him. But if my mother looks down from the sky and sees that, after all this time in his new home, the child she protected with her life is still so timid that he can't fend for himself, will she be disappointed in me?